Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
Sam Healy, what's up, y'all?
And today we're taking a look at Stop Thief.
Stop!
That's what I was going to do, but...
In the name of gold.
Now, some of you may have heard of Stop Thief before, and that's because it is a reprint of a game that came out in the 70s. In fact, this company, called Restoration Games, that is their whole point. Rob Daviau is going back and taking a look at these older games and making them more modern. I know some people think games from the 70s and 80s are pretty modern today.
They're fine the way they were.
Yeah, they're not.
They could use a new coat of paint.
Stop Thief was a game in which you were trying to catch a thief, and it had this funky electronic device that would give you clues as to where the thief was. This funky electronic device is now contained in our smartphones as an app.
Ooh,
It's the future.
shiny.
I think it's the present, actually. Here. So this game is made up of a ton of spaces. Each of the spaces is in a bank, electronics store, a department store, and a museum. Each player is going to have an investigator. They're going to take a card for that investigator and a bunch of movement cards. Now each investigator has different movement cards. So you can see here that the blue player has a 2, 3, 7, 8, 10, and 11. While the black player has a 2, 3, 2 6s, and 2 9s, which makes it look like the blue player has better movement cards, but this player can move an extra 3 spaces outside for free. They have different special abilities. So all the investigators are asymmetrical. Players are going to start with $3,000, and you're going to need an app for this game. So I'm going to show you here on the restoration, clicking Stop Thief. So just by the way, this is an early version of the app, so there may be changes to it once the game is out there completely. So I pick a new game, I'll pick Stop Thief, and it tells you the first player. So the first player is one with the shortest name. So this kind of constantly changes. And then the game difficulty, which you can click here and pick standard, immediate, or advanced to make it harder as the thief hides. You can even create, and if you go here, you can change exactly kind of some of the programming on how the thief moves. Then you will start the game. So this shows that a crime has been committed in the U.S. bank. Reveal the next thief card. So we have it narrowed down to the U.S. bank. Now the harder you play, then where it gets narrowed down to is less. So I know on these red spots here, 425, 445, 473, 475, and 467, that the crime has occurred. And the crime was done by, we turn over the top thief card, Elliot McCavity. Okay, so you get $7,000 if you catch him, and if you capture him, you get to take the first turn after the next thief strikes, a special ability. So each player is going to go in turn, and when it's your turn, the first thing you do is get a clue. Now the clue is going to have the thief making some sort of noise. That noise you just heard means that they walked indoors. So I know from 473, they moved to another number because thieves always move from one number to another number. And so it's one of these black numbers, square numbers on the inside. So I know, for example, it's not 423 because they could not have walked to that from, they could not have walked it from any red dot because there's a door in between those. And so we know kind of where he is. Each time, that door symbol means they're now on a door. So as we think this, so I could say, okay, if he started at 475, he could have walked to 466 and then went to this door. Or he could have went to this door. And there's some rules that the thief follows, like if he goes to a door, he will go to the next room. That means that he robbed something again. So I know he walked, went through a door, and then robbed. So maybe he started here, walked, went to that door, and then robbed at 473. That's not the only possibility, and as players listen to these, they're going to learn more and more. Each time the thief does commit another crime, you'll put another $1,000 on him and make him more valuable. So anyway, at the beginning of a player's turn, they do get a clue. Then the player is going to play a card from their hand. This is how many spaces they can move. So the blue player here can move 11. When a player moves, they have to move on every space, not just the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So maybe that's where the blue player moves. Once you play a card, it stays in front of you until you play your one card that lets you get all your movement cards back, which is, in this case, a 2, a very small number. Most of the players have a card that also says, before moving, get a private tip. A small movement card, but you can get a private tip. This tells me exactly where the thief is right now. So they're on 444, which is, where's 443? 444, that door there. Now, of course, when you get a private tip, you're not going to be able to move much, but at least it gives you, narrows it down. And the more advanced difficulties, the private tip might not, it will say they're either in this department or this department. The clue, when you press that, everyone can hear it. The private tip, only you can see. If you think you know where the thief is and you're on that spot, you make an arrest. And so maybe I'll sit here and go, okay, I think he's on 432. It will send the officers to 432. And if you're incorrect, you pay $1,000 to the bank and your turn's over. But if I know where the thief is, for example, I know he's at 444, or if you just guess and you're on the right spot, luckily, you catch the thief, you get the reward, so you get the money that's on the thief plus any thousands that are there, and then you check, did you win the game? You need to get a certain amount of money depending on the number of players to win the game. If not, the game continues, a new criminal appears, and that criminal does a new crime somewhere, and you keep going. That's pretty much it. There's a few rules like the detectives can't go through windows, but a thief can smash and break through the windows. Everybody can use subways. So there's a subway in each corner of the board and one in the middle that helps move faster. But when you move through a subway, your movement is done. And like I said, the thief can sometimes stay still on advanced things or move differently or in a more difficult pattern based on playing the more advanced difficult things. The first person to reach a certain amount of money is the winner of the game. Okay, so Stop Thief here is a lighter game.
It's a family weight game, I would say. Yeah, it definitely feels like a family weight game, though it has all these the ability to change up the clues and how sort of difficult it is to catch the thief, which gives it a lot of it gives it some wiggle room in that family weight category. I think you can lighten it up, make it a little easier if you want to mix it with the grown-ups and the kids at the table at the same time. Or you can make it a little harder, make the thief a little more aggressive, harder to catch if you're playing with just the adults in the family, And I like that. I like that they took some time, with the app available to them, they can do all these things now. And so I'm glad that they went ahead and did it, took some time to incorporate some variants in the game. And I think that's appreciated. It's a nice touch.
This is kind of a first step. It's one of the first ones that they've come out with. So I think it's a really good step in the right direction. If they continue remaking these old games in this fashion, with this level of quality and with this level of, bling, I guess you could say, I think they're going to be really they're really on the right path. They're really going to be doing a great job with it.
Yeah.
The app was really cool, and it was seamless, really,
right,
as far as how it is integrated into the game.
It's pretty simple. I mean, you're really just pressing a sound and such.
Correct.
But that's all you need.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, sometimes simplicity is the best course of action, especially with something like this is concerned. I think it takes that family weight level game, gives it a little shine, gives it a little luster, but then on top of that, like you were saying earlier, that app is very easily jiggered to where you can up the level of difficulty really easily, and it's just a couple of clicks here and there, and you're now playing a gamer's game rather than just a family's game. So.
Yeah, and the production quality, starting from the app, but really bleeding into everything cardboard and paper here is fantastic. I think they did a really good job of making the game look modern, look sharp, have, like you said, a lot of luster to it. The only thing I found a little bit iffy was some of those, some of the lines of footprints and the circles can be a little hard to discern where they cross or don't cross. That can be a little difficult to spot.
Yeah.
But it's really nitpicky. If you spend a couple of seconds looking at it, you'll figure out which way they go or don't go. And it just has a real welcoming, friendly look to it. The theme is handled in a very light manner. You're stopping thieves, but it's very sort of tongue-in-cheek and silly.
Yeah.
The whole thing just really, I think, nails that family vibe that you can get anyone to sit at the table with you and try this out. It's an approachable theme. It makes sense. It's clear. And it's got that app as a hook. It's like, in this game, we're going to catch a thief by listening to what they're doing. I'm in, you know?
Yeah.
So it's got that going for it.
Yeah, definitely. The going back to the whole...
You hold on.
Yeah, you wait. You don't talk. You talk enough.
Stop, Vassal.
Going back to the whole, the footprints on the board thing.
Yeah.
I can really see, and incorporating that talk into this idea of being family weight, gamer weight, whatever it might be. I can see people taking the gamer route where they're, I've seen people playing, what is that one with Jack the Ripper?
Oh, yeah, sure. Letters over
Whitechapel. I mean, they got their notebooks out, they're making notes, they're, this is, no, it can't be this, can't be that. I've seen people play it that way. I can see people playing this game that way. But on the same level, I can see people playing this game just completely, I don't know, not taking any notes at all. Just being very light with it, just being very easygoing with it.
I think it's simple enough where you don't have to take notes, which is actually one of the things I really like.
True.
You can narrow it down in a few turns pretty well.
Well, right, because there's only, you just have to remember the 4 sounds in a row.
Yeah.
Door, walk, window. And then you just look at the spots you started. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I could see, I love by the way, I like the production of this game too. Stealing all my words. But I can see some people who like deeper deduction games, because this is a deduction game, could be frustrated because there is an element of luck. Because I might go, I think he's here. And I might be right.
Yeah.
And so you could do that. You could guess a lot.
Yeah.
And if you narrow it down to 3 or 4 spots, you might get it some of the time.
Sure.
And that could frustrate someone who might be taking the game too seriously. So my solution to that is don't.
Yes, that's the problem. You're taking the game too seriously, right?
Yeah. It's definitely a light deduction, cat and mouse style game. And if approached as such, I think you're going to have a good time with it.
One of the best things I liked about the game is they got rid of the dice and added in the movement cards. And I love the fact that everyone's movement cards are different.
That is cool. It's a nice touch.
Got rid of dice? Anathema!
Well, I mean, yeah, but...
Just kidding, I know.
You're a big fan of playing cards and picking them all up. That's a fun mechanism in a game. Is. And it's neat, like Sam was playing one character where they just stole money from other people.
Yep.
And there's
good for Sam.
One person can use the clues more than other people. Yeah. One person can move faster than everybody else. And it just gives it a nice touch because you feel slightly different. And yet they feel balanced, too. It's not like, oh, his character's so much better.
Right.
Yeah? Right. I mean, if you steal from people, they're going to end up not helping you. Well, I don't know.
Well, it didn't help me win at all.
But your movement's slower because of that, too.
Yeah.
Right, so it evens out. This is a game that should be on Toys R Us, in my opinion. Their shelves.
Yeah, Target, Toys R Us, this is that kind of game. This is the kind of game I can see when you go over to, I don't know, the grandparents' house or you visit so-and-so, it's in their closet. You know what I mean? It's that style of game, and that could very well be true for the old one. I think that carries over to this production of the game.
Yeah, this is what they're going to be doing in the future. Yeah. This is a good sign for restoration games. I give this one 1.5 whistles up. Great production values, strong family weight game. I like deduction games anyway. And like Z said, sometimes I like playing those crunchy ones, but sometimes I like playing ones where I don't have to sit there and go, oh, I can't remember what happened.
Yeah. Not having to take notes in this was a breath of fresh air, I have to say, for a deduction game.
Correct.
So I'm going to give it also 1.5 busted windows up. It's a great family game. I think you should give it a shot, especially if you want to introduce it to a wide age range. Play with, your mom and your kid at the same time. This could work for that.
And I'm going to give this 1.5 ice cream cones up.
Ooh,
a little bit more meta.
There's a little ice
else.
cream truck on the board.
But I really did enjoy it. I'm not as into deduction games as these guys are, but that speaks more to the lightweighted nature of the game. I still enjoyed myself, even though I wasn't that great at it. I mean, I got to steal money from people without being punished for it, so it's good. But no, I truly enjoyed it. In spite of the fact that I usually don't enjoy deduction games like this.
Right.
Well, that is Stop Thief.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.